Okay, I clicked live, so we're probably already live.
Yes, hello, everybody. Happy Saturday,
Woohoo!
second day of May.
Don't you just love it?
What's that?
That that it's Saturday.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh,
I was agreeing with you.
yes. And even though we've been in quarantine for how long, I'm still like excited um, that it's Saturday. Yesterday I was excited it was Friday. I was like, it's the end of a week. Yeah, anyways.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Always fun. Always fun.
So we'll just see if anybody's going to join us today. It's
Yes.
been uh, it's been an interesting morning for sure. Boy, spirit can really test you some days, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And not just with getting messages. Sometimes they just like to play tricks and stuff, right?
Yes.
Hello, Beth, Mike. I don't know if it's Beth or Mike or maybe both of you, but hello. It's been um, it's been nice to be able to do this event at least online since we were
Yeah.
locked in and locked out and all that great stuff. So
I don't know, Beth Mike. I have no idea. It was on the Weather Network. I think we were all looking forward to the sunshine, and it's cloudy.
it's very cloudy, but it's not cold and it's not raining.
It is kind of chilly. Honestly, I'm a little chilled.
It's damp, but it's not cold. That's me. I don't know, but I'm wearing a sweater. What can I say?
Me too.
But the furnace isn't running at all, so I don't think it's. I don't even know what the temperature is outside. So what does that
Not
tell you?
warm.
So
Hi, Melina.
hi, Melina. It's been interesting. So I'm thinking, what do we need to talk about today? And then of course, like during readings today, something came up, and I thought this is what I'd like to talk about today. So without revealing any particular details or who I was having the reading with, what happened was is um, there was an adoption, and then somebody's birth relative is trying to come through, and nobody knows the information,
Hmm.
and you kind of struggle with. It gets so clear to me, but this is one of those things that really makes you trust what you're seeing because it's interesting. It's an interesting session when you're connecting with somebody who they don't really know but know a little bit about,
Yes.
and then when you're actually able to um, get things specifically that they're able to then go, oh yes, and then you're actually can sometimes fill in information for them. That's really cool.
It
That's what.
absolutely is. And what I've learned in the years of doing this is I can't argue with spirit.
Right.
Like when they are trying to get a message across, whether or not the person knows who they are or not, I just have to give the message that they're there to give because arguing with them is fruitless. Like it is, there is absolutely no point. And what ends up happening is what you're being shown, what is being said, always ends up making sense at some point, whether it's in the reading or it's after the reading. Because I've had lots of people come back to me, and I know you have too, because we've shared some of these experiences with each other where it didn't make sense in the reading. And then as a medium, you start to question, oh my goodness, have I lost the gift? And am I not able to connect and whatever else? But then what ends up happening is they'll come back a week later, 2 weeks later, the following day, whatever the case might be. And suddenly they know and understand what it was that you were talking about. And it's always just such a fun feeling of, I don't even know how to explain what the feeling is that I feel when someone comes back to go like, oh my God, this
Well,
is,
exactly, because it's nice to get validation, right? Because you question it when it's so clear to you and they have no idea what you're talking about. And
yes.
well, I mean, one thing that came through that we haven't been able to figure out was I was being shown whistle dogs. And I don't know what the significance of that was. I actually had to explain what that was. So
I don't even know what a whistle dog is.
so a whistle dog, it's a wiener and you cut it and then you put cheese in it. And sometimes it was wrapped in bacon and you made a hot dog and you called it a whistle dog. And I don't know why it's called a whistle dog, but anyways, that's what I was being shown. And I have no idea why. I gave that to her. I said, she says, I don't even know what one of those are. So sometimes, like tomorrow, it'll make sense. And sometimes to someone, well, you're right. Somebody will come back. I've had people come back 3 or 4 months later and say, oh my God, this just happened. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah, that's why I say you just can't argue with spirit. When spirit has something to say, they just have something to say. And sometimes I know for some of my clients, they'll think it's one thing that they're focusing on, but it turns out it's something different. But sometimes our own human experience limits us from seeing the kind of broader view that spirit is able to view things at.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it does get tricky. And, when you have families that become you end up with step families and step in-laws and then you throw adoption in, and sometimes it's really just convoluted and people don't always know the answers. But sometimes you send them off with enough information that they're really able to find the next pieces that maybe they've been looking for.
Yes.
And
that's another thing too that I'm just going to throw out there just as you're saying that, because with family, some people will think, well, I didn't get along with that person, so they shouldn't be coming through. Or, that was my stepfather. He's not my actual father. So he shouldn't be coming through as a father and whatever. And we get so caught up in what our linear point of view is of what those relationships are. But again, in the broader scheme of things, when we connect with spirit and we're in that spiritual realm, it's all family. It's just our connections that we have with people.
That's so very true. Very true.
Thank you, Melina.
Yeah, that's very kind of you to say, Melina. I know Catherine is amazing.
And so is Janice.
So some days I think, how are we ever going to make our way through these messages, right? Because the other person just can't confirm anything, and it almost feels like you're giving them a bad reading, right? And
yeah,
I don't ever want anyone to leave thinking they had a bad reading with me. But sometimes there's really, you're right, you can't fight what they're showing you. You're being shown exactly what they need to hear for whatever reason. And it's sometimes very hard to convince people of that when you're talking about stuff that makes no sense to them.
Yes.
So that was a bit of a test of trust this morning, because it was being really clear for me and it was making no sense for the longest time. And it was great when it finally all came together. We took the pieces and pieces and pieces and pieces, and then it all came together and it was like, holy shit.
That's awesome. It's always such a great confirmation.
Right?
Yes.
So if anybody has any questions, we're open to answering questions, about spirituality or how we work, or, whatever it is you have questions about.
Yes.
We're open to answering those. We're going to be putting up probably Monday the event for the meditation day.
Yes. Illuminate.
Illuminate. Yes.
I remembered it today.
I couldn't think of it yesterday either. It was just one of those
And I
weird
was
moments.
so excited about the word too. Do you remember that
Yes.
last week where I was like, this is the word we need to use?
Yeah.
And last night it was just completely gone. So
Yeah.
apparently I needed to be a little bit illuminated.
Exactly. So what I want to say about this event, it is an all day online event. So you're going to hang out with us all day. And we're going to meditate a few times. But I don't want people to be fearful. I don't want people to talk about I can't meditate, because this is about learning how. I mean, we're here to help facilitate your ability to meditate. And meditation for everybody um, is not the same. Some people go for a run and that's their meditation. Some people soak in a tub. Some people will sit on the floor. Some people need to lie down. Some people need music on, some off. Some need guided, some need silence. Everything is different, but the benefits of meditation are huge. And I think it's important for people to at least get an understanding of what they can get from meditation rather than worry about whether they're doing it right. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I know for myself, for the longest time, I got caught up in the idea of I'm not doing meditation right. And that stopped me from meditating. But then once I let go of the worry as to whether or not I was just doing it right or not doing it right, and just started just kind of being in the moment and connecting with it, honestly, it wasn't as easy as what I'm making it sound right now. Um, but the benefits that I got from that, it it absolutely transformed my life, which is why I'm so excited about sharing it with people now, is because I learned how to actually listen to my heart and to actually listen to my soul and to slow down enough that I could actually hear it. And it was so incredibly huge for me.
And the benefits for your physical health too, right? Reducing stress levels and improving sleep and just giving you better emotional health as well as physical health. I
Yeah.
mean, it really is. It's just something that's everybody can do, but we don't all know how to yet. So you you need to sort of maybe be guided through
Hi,
it.
Don.
So
Yeah.
let's, I want to encourage people who are not sure about what they're doing to come and spend the day with us so that we can help you get a better understanding of what meditation means for you. Right?
So Margie is asking, sorry, I'm interrupting to go
You
to a
are.
question. So Margie is asking, when you do a reading, how do you get spirits to come forward? I don't know about you, Janice, but I honestly just say, okay, I'm going to connect up, and whoever comes forward is going to come forward. And then they start to show up, and it's almost like an escalator or something that's bringing them all down towards me. And I can see how many people a person is coming in with and that sort of thing. So what's it like for you, Janice?
Well, I often so I do a little bit of a spiel at the beginning of every thing, reminding people, who they could possibly be hearing from, and then I explain how I get it. And that for me, that's my guide. That's my signal to my guides that I'm ready to go, and that allows them to start letting in spirit because they really help me control this. So we're not 24 hours a day with spirit, and that's when I start to allow them to come in. And they come in. I mean, I connect through my higher self to them, and I'm sure that's what you do as well, in whatever way it works for you. Um,
I'm
and then
always operating in my higher self.
I connect through my higher self, is what I said. I
No,
didn't say
I know. I said that I'm always in my higher self. I'm
and
joking. I'm joking.
then I usually start to feel them first.
Yep.
So I will start to feel them before I necessarily would see them. And sometimes they try to interrupt me while I'm doing my beginning thing, and I always get mad at them for that and make them go back. You just step back. Sometimes you got to get a little bossy with them because
Yep.
they're so excited, right? They're so excited to be able to come and give messages, and as excited as people are to come and have a reading, Spirit is as excited for us to be the conduit for them as well.
Yeah. Well, and that's like because I always say I don't want information, I want confirmation. And when people are able to confirm things, the level of excitement from the spirit, sometimes I talk faster than what a human should be able to speak because they just get so excited and it's like, blah, 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 and this and this and this and this. So, yeah.
Right?
Because they're
Yes.
being heard. And like we all feel so excited whenever we get heard.
That's very true. That's very true. Excuse me.
So Beth Mike is asking, are spirits coming through when we connect with you live now? For myself, no. I asked not to be connected during the live, that it was just Janice and I speaking, and I'm pretty sure Janice turned off her connection as well.
Yep. I put up the out for lunch sign.
Yeah. uh,
Because they could come in and take over and be wanting to give messages, and that's not really what we want to do during this live. I mean, at some point we might do one of those, but you know.
So Donna is saying, when you're in a grocery store or somewhere public, do you get spirit jumping up and down to say something to someone? So Dawn, I have experienced that. I try not to, because to me, it's it would be kind of like walking up to a stranger and reading their personal diary. Like it's not something that I've been given permission to tap into, because when a client comes to me, they're giving me that permission by coming to me. However, at the same time, at a restaurant once, I had a woman's grandmother come forward and she was connecting with this woman. She was actually the waitress, about her mother who was sick. And it was a lot of reassurance around her mom's sickness and her own mental and emotional health that she was going through, as she was helping her mom through the sickness. And then the next time I went into the restaurant, it turned out her mother had actually passed away, but the confirmation that she had gotten from the grandmother helped her to move through that process. So that was one time where I overstepped my own boundary, and I asked her permission prior to giving that message, but it's not something that I would typically try to practice, because it's not everybody's open to it. And that's my own personal belief.
I believe that as well. And when I teach people how to develop their own skills, the very first thing that they'll hear from me is, if you don't have permission, don't do it. It's an invasion of privacy. You're absolutely right. It's like, well, it's none of your business. You don't know what the relationship was. You don't know how they feel. You don't know what their beliefs are. You don't know where they're at in the grieving stage. And it really, it's intrusive. And I've had people come up to me and want to talk about who's with me, and I say to them, no, because I didn't give you permission. If I said to you, hey, is there anybody here who wants to give me a message? That's me giving you permission. And it's like the same if somebody asks me about, oh, what about so-and-so? And they want to know information about maybe their boyfriend or their mother, and I'd say, I don't have their permission. I'm not connecting and giving you information on them, because it's their business, not yours.
So Doris is saying, so you can't pick someone you want to hear from, or do you have a choice on who you would like to connect with? Well, you can go into a reading and you can go, I really want to hear from my mom today. I really want to hear from my mom today. But if it's your grandmother or your great uncle Bill, who you met once when you were 2 years old, who's really excited to talk to you, and they're the ones who have a message for you, then that's who you're going to be hearing from. Now, that doesn't mean that mom won't come forward later on in the reading, but we have to just go in the order that the spirit shows up to us. And sometimes it's about like great uncle Bill, who you met once when you were 2 years old, and he has something really impactful to say. so when you go in for any reading, whether it's with Janice or myself or with any psychic medium, I do suggest to people to just remain as open as possible to who might have the ability to come forward, because it's really anybody that you've ever been connected to in your life. It's not just the people that you felt closest to or that you're grieving the most.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And maybe, the person that you want to hear from hasn't transitioned either. Sometimes sometimes people are so anxious that they come too soon. And I've told people that I won't do a reading if it's too soon. Sometimes I've asked them to wait, because I just feel like you're going to hear more information if they have fully transitioned. And some people transition in a couple of hours. I've had people come through and they've only been gone a few hours. And I've also had people who you don't really get very much from, but once you hit about 6 months, they just start flooding you with information. So as much as you want to hear from someone, there's a couple of things that really play into whether or not that's the person you're going to hear from that day. So I totally agree with what you said.
Thanks, Angela. She likes my headphones.
Oh.
This allows me to watch the Facebook Live without you guys hearing the echo back or anything like that. So it's helpful. They should be a little bit smaller, but I like them. They're comfy.
That's all that matters.
Yes.
They work and they're comfortable.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If they could be sparkly purple, I'd like them that much better.
I know. I mean, when we sit together in the same room, we don't need the headphones because we can just turn the sound right off. But when we're in two different places and we have to do a Zoom and a Facebook, it gets a little echoey.
Yes.
For sure. Oh, so did we answer everybody's question? I don't remember.
I think so.
Let me just go scroll. Dawn wants to know is how easy is it to turn it off? And
I just say, that's it. I don't have any proper words that I actually say, but I feel like my boundaries around it are pretty clear.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll have someone slip in. But it usually ends up when someone slips in, it's about to make a really big impact on someone's life. So I don't even mind it that much.
Yeah, I get the same thing. And I want to say, like, it wasn't like immediately that easy to turn it on and off. That's something I had to learn. I had to learn that I had the ability to set the boundaries and how I would go about doing that. Because I remember not wanting to be connected 24 hours a day was part of the reason why I pushed it away for so many years, because I didn't know. And then
you're not the only person who struggles with that. I hear that a lot from people, that they're so afraid of connecting because they don't know how to turn it off again.
Yeah.
And if they do turn it off, then will they be able to get it back? And I know you and I have had this discussion more than once where, like, when COVID first started happening and a lot of our sessions were either being moved to Zoom or they were being canceled. And I think we both went through like an hour and a half, a week and a half period of not doing readings. And I did the same over Christmas vacation. And it was like, oh, shoot, do I still know how to do this? And they turn out to be like the clearest readings that are happening because we've actually had the break in between. But I understand where the fear comes from for people, that they're not going to be able to step back into it if they do turn it off.
Exactly. And so it was a learning process for me, for sure. Figuring out how I turn it on, how I turn it off, when to say no. And the whole coming through when you're not invited thing, I get those usually happening if I've been meditating, because you kind of let your walls down a bit. And every single one that I've had since the beginning of this year where somebody's come through, like, it's been a critical message. It's been a critical message. Like, it's really been something that really needed somebody who really needed to have a connection, or something that really needed to be known. It's been amazing this year for me, and messages, huge for sure.
Awesome.
Hmm.
So Heidi is saying, my connection is hit and miss. How do I best strengthen it to have it be more consistent?
The first thing that I heard was you need to stop trying to be like everybody else. And this is interesting because it another thing that I had to learn was how it works for me, and what's the way I get messages, because we think that everybody is going to be like Teresa Caputo, right? Or like Catherine Graham. It's like it works the way it works for you. And so the hard steps to get there is letting go of what your expectation is around how you're going to do this, what it's going to look like for you. Some people wonder if they're going to see actual apparitions.
Apparitions.
Thank you.
Yep.
Suddenly, like that word wouldn't come out of my mouth. Or whether you're going to, some people see it like a little movie in their mind. Are you going to hear things? Am I going to feel spirit? So we kind of have to figure out what works for us, and then once you can sort of figure out what way the messages are coming, then you start developing the trust around it. And when you develop the trust, then it becomes more consistent, and the ability to turn it on and off, and know that if you turn it off at the end of the day, that tomorrow you'll be able to turn it back on. Because you're right, like if you're going to open it up, you don't want to be able to do it for one day and then lose it, for sure. But it doesn't go away unless you send it away.
Another thing I want to add, just going on the whole trust thing. I like to play games around the trust. So if you're sitting down to watch a movie that you've never watched before, ask spirit, how is this going to end? It kind of ruins the movie for you, but when you're learning how to trust, when you're connecting with spirit and trying to understand the messages that they're showing you and understand the language and everything, I always play games with either movies that I'm watching, books that I'm reading, who's calling on the phone, what people's conversations with me are going to be about, that sort of thing. And it's literally feels like a guessing game when you first start connecting with that intuition, but you will actually start to see how that language works with spirit when you're connecting with them. So just for an example, if I was to say to you, one message that spirit gives to me, if I see a tree, that shows me the state of the family. So some trees I'll see they're cut down, or they'll have branches cut off of them. Now, the very first time I seen a tree, it was like a fall tree. So it was like full of these brilliant colors, and I was watching all of these leaves come off. And I was like, well, what the heck is that supposed to mean? Like, but what I learned over time was the state of the tree was the state of the family since the person's passing. So sometimes I could see the family was flourishing. Sometimes it felt like family was falling away, or family had been cut off in the case where the branches are being cut off, or the tree's completely dismantled. It shows that the family's been completely dismantled. So you can ask spirit to start to show you different symbols for.
Oh, Catherine,
Or I don't know about you, Janice. What's that?
I couldn't hear you there for a second. I didn't know if that was you or just me.
Okay. For yourself, Janice, if there's like a birthday or something, do you have a symbol for when someone might be celebrating a birthday?
I often get balloons. Balloons are a big one for me when it's a birthday. And then gratitude, wanting to thank somebody for what they've done or what they did for that person is usually yellow roses. And then I often will get different colored flowers if it's like an anniversary or some kind of celebration.
Yes. So that's the language that I'm talking about, Heidi.
Yeah.
For myself, I often get a bouquet of flowers when it's someone's birthday. If it's a child's birthday, I'll see the balloons. And then sometimes it's like literally a cake. and they're setting the cake down right in front of the person to celebrate that birthday with them. So ask spirit when you're wanting to connect and stuff, what are the symbols for you? And what do those symbols specify? Because then you start to just get the picture of, say, the flowers or the cake or whatever. You automatically know this is what the message is, that they're talking about a birthday.
And this is when journaling is really important. I think when you're first figuring out what everything means for you, if you start journaling what you're seeing and what you're being shown, so that when it comes up again, you can go, what happened when I saw the flowers the last time? Oh, it was somebody's birthday, or it was an anniversary. And you might start seeing it repetitive. And instead of having to try to remember, because we don't remember, you can go back and look and see, oh, when I see teacups, that's all about grandmothers or whatever it is that works for you. And so I think
Yeah.
that I mean, I always encourage people who are in this stage of developing their abilities to just journal the shit out of everything, what you see and what it meant or how it was interpreted, right? And
Yes.
then you start to be able to more easily identify what that meant.
Yes. And like a big thing is just trusting yourself. And I know Janice and I have both struggled with this in the past and every once in a while still, where when you've got an intuitive nudge, then you have to trust whatever that intuitive nudge is, whether it's because you're connecting with spirit or it's life in general. And so you might have this idea that comes in and it just feels so intuitive and so aligned with everything, but then you start to doubt it. And it's in the doubt, like you can lose yourself completely in the doubt. But if you can stay in alignment with the trust that what that intuition is that you've been given is going to actually play out the way that you have been shown that it's going to play out, it can make it happen so much quicker. So it's so important to pay attention and to just simply trust what it is that's coming up for you.
Sometimes you have to be very brave and just say things, because it doesn't mean a damn thing to you, but to the person that's sitting across from you, it's the one thing that they've been waiting to hear. It's
Yes.
and you have to do that a few times before you get confident enough to know that you just got to say it. And sometimes when
Yes.
those really weird things come in, I'll say, okay, I'm just got to say this. And it's usually bang on to what they needed to hear. So,
Yes. So Doris is saying, with everything going on right now, I am sure people want to know what is going to happen.
well, the weather's getting warmer and the trees are going to be out in leaf and the flowers are going to grow and the vegetables will come to harvest and we'll be able to go outside in bare feet.
These are the
That's what,
things we know for sure.
um, Doris, I'll speak up because I've been saying this out loud a lot. And I don't mind saying it. Whether it's right or wrong, it's what I believe. It's what I've been shown. And that is, and I said yesterday morning, I was talking to someone and I said, we are going to start seeing things open up next week. I said that yesterday morning. And the person that was on the other side of the table said, well, they weren't actually at the table because we were online, but said, really? You think next week? And I said, absolutely, I believe next week. And I said, by mid month, we are going to be having a lot more ability to get out and get around and do things. We're not rushing back to what we had, but there's going to be a lot more things opened up by mid month. After I got off of that, I got an email notification of something and I clicked on it and it was our man Ford saying he was opening stuff about starting Monday. I'm like, okay. So I still believe that by mid-month we're going to be feeling like we're heading back toward where we were. I don't think the kids will be back in school before September. That's me.
Yes. And I just keep saying May 19th, and I have no idea what's going to happen on May 19th, but that's what I've been given is May 19th. So I'm looking forward to May 19th to see what happens that day. That's all I know for sure. And I think really for a lot of people who might be asking what's going to happen out of this, that's a question to ask yourself. You know, I've had days during this whole COVID thing where I've really struggled with just feeling stuck and pissed off that I'm in the house and pissed off about this, that, and the other thing. And then I've had other days where it's like, this is the most amazing time ever. Like, what a gift it is for all of us. And as we step out of what this whole quarantine period has been, it's all going to come down to a choice of how do you want your future to look like? And your future, meaning when this is all over. What does that look like for you? What have you learned out of all of this? I've learned I spend a lot of money on shit that I don't even know what the heck it is that I spend a lot of money on. But my God, we have so much money sitting in our bank account right now. And I'm not the only person that I've talked to. Not that I'm talking to myself, but maybe I am. But I've talked to so many people who seem to have so much extra money sitting in the account, even though we're working less. You know, my husband and I, there's been nights where we go to bed at 8:30 and sleep right through till 7:30 the next morning, 11 hours of sleep. So another thing that we can take out of this is to rest more, to not just always be so much on the go, to we've gotten creative with different activities with the kids and with the family and whatever. Like, there's been so much. And even us doing this Zoom live right now, we never thought before, like, we'd book out an entire morning to do a live. So that way it was time for driving and grab the coffee and have a snack and everything else. And now it's a totally different platform. So yeah, when you're asking that, Doris, my question becomes to everybody is, what do you want this to be? As you move forward, what is this going to look like for you? What do you think is going to happen for you?
I think that a lot of people are going to, at least initially, be more mindful of where they're spending their time and energy and money. I think
Absolutely.
that will be huge for a lot of people. Do I think that there will be people that will go straight back to whatever they had? Absolutely. But I think a lot more people will realize that we don't have to fill every moment, every waking moment, to be doing things just for the sake of doing them.
Are you kidding me? We've got like 5 days planned for when this is all over. We've got like so many people to visit and so many things to go and do that we just miss so much. Like the simple act of going for a walk and taking our youngest to the park. Like he loves that. We stop at Tim Hortons and we grab a drink and we go to the park and hang out and whatever. We're not doing that now. So it's, yeah, that's, and he has play dates planned with all these kids, and I've got breakfast, lunch, and supper plans with people, and
Oh, absolutely.
so much.
But I mean, yeah, you're going to do that initially because we all have people that we've missed, and we, it's like when this is over, we're getting together, and it could be people that you haven't made time to go see or connect with, and you really sort of notice these people that are important in your life, and suddenly here we are, not finding time for each other. And I think that there will be lots of things that we do, but I don't think that we're going to go back to the hurry that we used to be. The how much more can I cram into this day kind of hurry, where we fill it up with work, and then we fill it up with housework, and then we fill it up with family, and we fill it up with friends, and we fill it up with teaching and learning and doing and doing and doing. And we don't need to.
Yeah.
And then we fall into bed at night to get up early to start and do it all over again. And I think that that's what's going to change for a lot of people. And I think that getting together, with people and really appreciating the time with people will also make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at on this whole thing. So did we answer your question about what's going on? I think as best we could.
And Don, I think honestly, I think everybody's learning lessons from this. They're either learning what they want or they're learning what they don't want, or yeah, there's so many lessons that are happening in all of this, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. The lessons are there if you're willing to see them.
Absolutely.
You know.
I mean, I think this was a bit of a gift for us. And we really didn't mean to pause the entire world when we kept saying press pause on the chaos. But we are going to continue to say press pause on the chaos.
Yes.
That's the tagline for our retreat.
Yes, the Heart Speak retreat happening 52 weeks from today will be the second day of the Heart Speak retreat.
Yeah. We'll be well into it at this point in a year from now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, oh, we got some new comments that I can't see.
Heidi's saying, absolutely. I hope people realize what a gift it is. And Doris is saying, yes, for sure. And Dawn is saying, I hope we all learn lessons from this. So yeah, I mean, you just look at, we don't have a whole lot of people on here today. There's only 9 people, but out of that, we have 3 people who are all seeing the gifts and lessons and stuff that they're experiencing. And Janice and I are agreeing with you. So that's 5 out of 9 that are all saying, yeah, there's so many gifts and lessons, which is more than 50%. So half the world is seeing this as a gift.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's it's one of those things that when they first happened, you kind of go like, what the hell? And then you sort of go through a process of hating that you're here. And then you go through a stage where you start going, well, this hasn't been really as bad as I thought it was going to be. And what has actually come out of this has been better. And I think that's where a lot of people are right now, for sure.
And it's like, honestly, it's a lot of letting go of everything that you thought made you who you were.
Yes.
So for myself, seeing clients is a big aspect of my entire life, and now suddenly that part has been taken away. I don't get to see people in person. I don't get to do hands-on energy healings with people in person, but learning a new way to do it, and it's working,
Yeah.
I agree, Heidi. The homeschooling, let's just call it a school year already. But it's learning everything that you are, as everything that you're not is being taken away. And a lot of us have been so limited by thinking we have to do it in this way because this is the way it's been working for us. We don't have to be limited by it anymore. Like, I feel my soul, and Janice, I see it in your soul too, and so many people's souls. There's such an expansive energy that's happening right now. We are all stepping into what it is that we need to be during this time. I get very excited about it. So Carolyn Helena is saying, oh my gosh, such a gift. I am abandoning, putting to the curb a lot of old patterns, beliefs, and I am finding like-minded people. Still work in progress, but for me, yes, this has been a huge gift. That is awesome, Carolyn. I guess it's Carolyn. That is absolutely awesome. And yeah, all of the purging that people are doing, it's like, this is the reset button that we all needed.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been really interesting. And I think we had a discussion a few weeks ago about how why didn't we know this was coming? And it's interesting. We both sort of were given clues. In the readings we were doing, you said when you look at all of the year forecast you did, there was so many people that was showing a disruption in March. And I had one morning where I woke up and it was like a slideshow, and it was me saying over and over again to different people, there's going to be something really unsettled about work around the spring. And they all looked at me like I was crazy. And I couldn't say what it was.
And I read for a lot of teachers, and it's so funny because in January, February, in the career aspect of their reading, they kept showing me this chaos and having to learn new things and new beginnings and all this stuff. And then when I found out they were a teacher, like, I was like, oh, it's because of the strikes. That makes sense. Well, no, actually, it had nothing to do with the strikes. It had to do with the fact that everything that you've thought of being a teacher was is going to go completely out the window, and you're going to have to teach your class of 30 how to do things via an online platform, you know? And we were talking about bone readings yesterday that we had with Chris Dorsey. Check her out, Turtle Blessings. But she had given me a reading. My husband and I went back in February for readings on Valentine's Day. And she kept saying, like, don't put deposits on anything right now. For whatever reason, it's not a good idea to put a deposit on any trips or booking anything or whatever. And I was like, oh, like what bad kind of thing is going to happen? And it just clued into me last week. I was like, this is why, because I was planning on taking my kids to New York this summer, and I can't go anywhere right now. I can't cross the border. So if I had bought the plane tickets on the day that I wanted to buy the plane tickets, we would have probably been out the money, or we'd have to shift it and be a lot of phone calls. Like, it just saved a lot of hassle. So I feel like, and a lot of different people that I talked to, it's like we were all given these bits of information. But can you imagine if we had said in a reading to someone, you know, to a teacher, there is a coronavirus that's coming and none of the students will be able to come to school for 7-8 weeks, and you're going to have to put all of the platform on Zoom and Google Classrooms and all of this stuff. They'd be like, yeah, okay, that was a waste of money, and walk away. Because I think it took the first couple of weeks of us all being put into quarantine before we were able to actually adjust our minds to it and start to understand that this was something that was real. Because I remember going to pick Sterling up from university, and on the way home, I was like, I still don't know if I believe that this is actually happening. But when I think of like the world coming to an end or a world crisis, I'm thinking like Hollywood movies with like massive tornadoes that are, you know, coming towards you, or huge earthquakes or huge hurricanes or something, not a little tiny bug that none of us can see. So
Right.
it took a while for my brain to actually accept it as truth.
It definitely would not have been something that we could have convinced people of. And it's interesting because there's stuff coming up where 10 years ago there was predictions, of this type of virus that was going to become a pandemic. And people are looking back at it now and going, whoa. But if that person had in February had been here and had said that, people would have said, like, you lunatic. Right? But because it came so far back, nobody people are accepting it now, but would not have accepted it when it first came out, which is kind of interesting. So I think there's a reason why we were only given clues.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting process for sure. So
For sure. So Carolyn is saying, and to top this off with a cherry, the universe has removed some unhealthy relationships from me. I didn't have to do anything. Someone unfriended me on Facebook, which I was thinking of doing, but didn't have to. So thank you, universe. Woot woot. Awesome.
Isn't it great how that stuff works out? Sometimes we just got to really believe and trust. Trust.
Yes, trust. It's the most important thing.
Right?
And then Heidi's saying, way back in the fall.
Go ahead.
Way back in the fall, I couldn't pull the trigger on putting money on a cruise for this spring, and hubby was bugging me to just do it, and I told him I couldn't do it and didn't know why, but I had to trust my gut. Thank goodness I did. Isn't that crazy?
Right? I mean,
it's not really crazy, but it is crazy.
For this weekend, we were ordering marketing materials for this show, and I was supposed to be doing it, and I kept having troubles with my computer, and I couldn't get it to work and look the way I want it to look. And I finally said, okay, I just need to stop it for a day or two, and then I'll go back to it because I still had enough time. And then this happened, and it's like, okay, well, we didn't need to spend the money on the marketing materials for the show that didn't happen. So at the time I was very frustrated by it, but then when you step back and you go, okay, there was a reason why it was becoming so difficult for me to try to get that material organized and ordered, because I've done it before many times very easily.
Yes.
So the universe really does look after us. It's when we don't listen that we get disappointed, I think. Or when we
Well, and
when we think
sometimes
we know
because
how it's supposed
everything
to go.
should be, yes, because we think everything should just happen the way we think it should happen. But if it starts to be where it's like you're having to put so much effort and having to push and push and push and push, just take a step back from it. Give
Right?
yourself the breather, because everything in the universe should just flow naturally. Exactly,
Absolutely.
Dawn. There's always a reason for everything.
Yeah.
And usually it comes up in hindsight where we're able to see what that reasoning is.
Yeah. It's funny, and as much as you've learned that lesson 100 times, sometimes you still have to go through it and learn the lesson again. It's only like, oh yeah, okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. But
Yes.
here's your bit stuff. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah,
Exactly.
but that's what makes us human. You know, this constant need to be reminded over and over again of what we've done wrong.
Or what we're just not remembering that is right about who we are.
Or trying to be something that we're not really meant to be as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole lot of things that we do because of what we believe other people expect of us. I don't do that so much anymore. I used to do it a lot and not so much anymore. But that's okay. So,
I'm
yeah,
still a bit of a people pleaser.
uh,
It's my thing.
I don't, I don't, I'm not, I don't, I'm not 100% there, but I'm certainly way more doing what's
Oh, yeah.
worked for me than ever before.
Yep.
So,
I can agree with that
yeah.
for myself. Yeah.
So there we go. So
Yes.
we've talked for 53 minutes. Like, where does the time go?
I know, right?
I don't even know. I don't even know. We could do talk radio and like an entire afternoon of just talking, because apparently we're very good at it.
Yes.
So we've got readings this afternoon. Um, and again tomorrow. I think there's still a couple of spots open for tomorrow if anybody's still looking to get a reading. I don't know if there's, do you have anything left for this afternoon?
Yes.
Okay, so if you wanted to have a reading with Catherine this afternoon, she's available. And then tomorrow there's a couple of spots for Sunday. We will be doing a live again tomorrow around, I think it's the same time. Let me just.
Yeah, 1:00 tomorrow. We've got the live booked again.
Yeah, so we'll be back on tomorrow. If you're interested in having another listen to us as we talk on about life in general.
Yes.
If you have things that you specifically would like to ask us, and send us a message or come on to the live and ask us a question. We'll do our best to answer if we can.
Yes.
With that being
All
said,
right,
I
guys.
think we'll pop off, and thank you everybody for coming, and talk to you
Tomorrow.
yes. Okay. If I can
Have a great
just
day, guys.
let this